begin again chanting the name of Rama. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. So let us pick up the thread uh, from where we stopped last time. One line I remembered that I did not elucidate, and that is very important. That Binu Satsanga Viveka na hoi. That it is very categorical statement that the discernment, viveka, earlier it used to get translated without any problem as discrimination. But then these days the word discrimination has acquired some funny, connotation, not a very good connotation. Discriminated against and all that stuff. So this is to avoid that these days people use the word discernment. So that discernment is very important thing in spiritual life. It is discernment between what is permanent and what is impermanent. Mm. It appears simple, but in practice, things are actually opposite that happens. That which is impermanent, that we take it as permanent. And that which is permanent, we question its existence. It is, hey, is this self there, is God there? Well, that alone is actually, and we question its existence. And that which is like the passing things, they come and go, what they are, we don't know, we take them to be permanent. And that becomes a big problem because when you think of something, I mean, in your awareness as permanent, you get attached to it, and thus one gets attached to things which are not permanent, but we think them to be permanent. When we know something to be impermanent, then we never get attached to it. I gave many times that example. Your seat in the train or plane, you call it my seat, this is my seat, but you know it is for a few hours. It is, what do you know? It is impermanent. And the result is you don't get attached to it. You are ready to leave it. Even before the plane properly lands, you are ready to, yeah, it is to get up and get out. So, because you are not attached to it, you don't shed tear about leaving it. But what about one's own body and then that which you are connected to because of this impermanent body? That my parents, my offsprings, my other relations, my friends, What are they? They are more impermanent than this impermanent body. Still, one gets caught in them. Why? Because we do not know that it is impermanent. And how do we know it? Only by holy company. And Tulsidas makes a very categorical statement that not that okay, holy company may be one of the means. No, he says, Binu satsanga vivek na hoi. Without satsang, there is no viveka. The discernment is not possible. Do you get it, Vivek? His name is Vivek. So, so it is to get that discernment. One has to have this holy company. When you see the those lives, then that dawns that what is permanent in life, what is not permanent in life. And that knowledge, when it gets into you, that automatically removes the attractions for anything that is not permanent. What a great advantage it is this mistaking the impermanent for permanent is a bane of our life. That is that question was asked to Yudhishthira that what is the most astonishing thing in this world, the most surprising thing. And his answer was, although we see every moment people dying around us, and yet we think that we are not going to die, we are permanent. What is more astonishing than that? It is, it is therefore how we will understand this is by having holy company. So now, as I had mentioned at the end of the last class, oh, but before that, let me take up a question that was asked that at that time I didn't look at the questions, and one devotee who was supposed to look at and tell me was also not sure whether she should tell or not. But then later on, she told me that the question was how to overcome negativity. Negative thoughts, yeah. So that is a very common but very persistent problem that we all face as spiritual aspirants. That the question is very nice in the sense that the person is asking the process. That means that the person wants to overcome the negative thoughts. Mm. So there are these satsang is the great means for that. As I mentioned, if you are in holy company, then those thoughts find it difficult to appear. Your mind is always filled with uh, positive, purposeful thoughts. All the meaningless, wasteful thinking then drops off because of the power of the holy company. As we were discussing, they don't get scope in holy company. Only the positive life-giving ideas and they get scope. So this is in holy company you will find an answer how get rid of the negative thoughts. Now one may say is that holy company means not that you go and be with some person who is considered holy. It is the holy company means you have to have that urge for that, and then you will find holiness in everything. And that is the holy company. It is that uh, each of us has this capability of rising beyond negativity. Even this thought that I want to go beyond negativity, overcome negative thought, uh, shows that you already know the positive thoughts. In comparison with that alone, you will know that these are negative thoughts. Isn't it, Rashmi? Yeah, you know what is positive thought. So, uh, th- one has to therefore move towards that. Now, this is a conscious effort that I have to mention that because many times we think that it has to happen uh, automatically. On its own, it must come. It should come from within. Well, it is coming from within, but you have to give expression to it uh, in your outer life. You have to make a conscious effort. It is one nice example is there that it is that the air is there, you don't have to make air, but you have to breathe. So it is both conscious and unconscious activity. There is some consciousness involved in it. That is why at the doctor's office they tell you, now breathe. Ah, our some Rhode Island language, I think it's a very funny thing that uh, that that lady, that doctor was telling me, please breathe for me now. Why should I breathe for you? I will breathe for me. Please breathe for me. Take a long breath for me. Me? Why for you? It is so just funny. So it is they. What it means is there is some conscious control that we have on it. Otherwise, this instruction is meaningless. That so you breathe. It is as they similarly there is some control that you can exercise on your thought process. Turn the steering towards the positive thinking rather than negative thinking. And it is, and there is a lot positive to think about. It is now, for example, this present corona problem. Some months ago, one of our devotees called. So, because she said, I am so troubled hearing all this. What do you think we should do? Hey, all these, you open TV, all the bad corona news, so many died, it is spreading here, all sorts of things. Hmm. So I said, who told you to see all that? And does it add any fresh knowledge to you? Nothing. The same thing is more or less repeated every single hour, and you keep on watching it every single hour. Is there any, more forceful way to become insane? Soon you will certainly, surely become a psycho case, isn't it? If you keep on watching it all the time and thinking about worrying, oh, what will happen now, what will happen to this, and then this is going to happen, that is. So now stop doing it. It is, isn't it in your power to stop watching it? If it troubles you, stop watching it. Very simple. And so, some such measures we have to conscientiously take. It is no point in blaming somebody else. That is another important way that you can stop negative thinking. Don't blame somebody because of this it is happening, because of that it is happening. My life is not going online because of my spouse and all. Don't make complaints. Got it, Rashmi? Yeah, so it is. Uh, if you make complaints, then what happens? Then that means you that is you have accepted it, you want it, that's it. It is. So therefore take the responsibility on yourself. Yeah. Don't put responsibility on anybody else. Take it on yourself or put it on God. Yeah. So this is the way you can overcome negative thoughts. Then there are certain, of course, very regular practices that one should undertake, like regular prayers which are full of positive thoughts, prayers, readings, meditations. Meditate on this fact. It is, I am using the word fact deliberately. Meditate on this fact that God is in me. Hmm. What can be more positive than that? God is in me. And there is a poem of Swami Vivekananda, just a couplet. He had written it in his letter to his brother disciples and all. किन्नामरोदिषि सखे त्वयि सर्वशक्ति आमन्त्रयस्व भगवन् भगदं स्वरूपम्. That in whose name you fellow you are crying. All power is within you. Tvai Sarva Shakti. All power is within you. Amantrayasva. Just invoke them, invite them, and let them become, that expressed in your life. And then Trilokyame tava padamule. That you will see this whole universe is nothing, it is just lying at your feet. Etadakhilam tavapadamule. And he gives the reason behind it. One may wonder how this whole huge universe be lying there under my feet. How is it possible? Swami Vivekananda is not talking some emotional, nonsensical stuff. He has a very solid, real reason to tell this. Atmaiva hi prabhavate na jadak kadachit. That remember Atman, the self alone prevails and not the inert matter. Uh, that is the great thing, one principle that we need to learn and imbibe in us, that Atmaivahi Prabhavate na Jadam Kadachit. It is the conscious principle, the Atman that alone prevails, not the inner things. Don't get overpowered by them. In one of other letters here, and what a great simple logical thing, we call ourselves logical. Are we really? Just think about it. It is they were all saying that you have given such big schemes and all that. Where is the money? Where is the money? And he writes to them that uh, well, think about it, whether man makes money or money makes man. Have you ever seen money making man? It is man who makes money. Woman spends, they say. It is anyway. Okay. Yeah, there was a nice joke, It is that it is that one little child was saying, that is I Apple stuff, that little girl got a music hearing tool that I iPod. She says, I have got this iPod. Then her older brother point, I have got iPhone, iPad, iPhone. Their mother says, I have got iPad. And then their dad is standing there, says, showing a bill, I paid. So it is. So the point is, it is money never makes man. Man makes money. It is. And so it is very important to remember this, that if he writes further, if I need money, the money has to come to me. And it is, if I need money, the money has to come to me. It must. It is. And see, isn't it logical? It is perfectly logical. We mostly, cannot use money because we run after money. When one runs after money, who is the master? Money is the master. And so, who controls whom? Money makes use of me. I cannot make use of money. What? Huh? Kisleji, you don't believe this? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. If you want to make use of money, otherwise you will accumulate money. That money will keep on using you for its growth. You will not be able to use money for your growth. So it is very important that this viveka, uh, it is that what is permanent, what is impermanent, what is more valuable, what is less valuable. It is thus, this is called viveka, and this comes with satsang. Mm. And this is applicable to the negative thoughts also. That the negative thinking and so many doubts and which keep on, yes, making their very uh, noisy presence in us, that how this happens. One of our friends keeps on asking the same question repeatedly, uh, that it is now when the answer is given, satisfied. But then after one day again they sends email asking same question. Do you know Charlie? Who is that guy? Okay. So so it is natural, not that. So the reason is that uh, that satsang, uh, as it moves on, as it goes ahead, this negativity goes away. So, therefore, this satsang, now we shall see that in how its mechanism is, that mechanism cannot be described, but its effectiveness is described, that how effective it is, that he says uh, that just as in this holy company, suddenly you will see crows turn into cuckoos and herons into swans. The same person, and is completely transformed, changed. We have examples in ancient history as well as modern history. How things the persons get transformed just instantly. The instant can be small or big, but it is, after all, a transforming instant that it is. Yeah, because of the holy company, that spark comes, and then it brings about that very important, uh, potent transformation in a person to this extent, that it is a crow, but then it would become a, instead of making noise, quack, 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 very disturbing. It would have a very musical, this uh, word. So, and there are the great prehistoric examples like Valmiki. How he became Valmiki, the story is well known. I don't have to repeat that he was actually the uh, a highway robber. Came in contact with Narada. Not that he went to meet Narada and give me advice. No, he wanted to actually kill this Narada and snatch whatever he had. But then Narada gave him the just some suggestions, and then well, he became a great saint, writer of this Ramayana. Uh, there's so many such. Narada himself is another example. He was born of a maid servant. There is this nice story in the Bhagavatam about Narada's life that gradually his life got transformed due to holy company. It is through holy company all these transformations take place in one's life. Yes,
Question actually regarding the holy company.
yes,
Obviously, when you're in holy company, you pick up some golden nuggets actually in the interaction that you have in the holy company. The question is, the interaction that nuggets that you pick up in an interaction has to be meditated on so you can internalize it, correct?
that's correct.
Right? Because I think the point is that for us devotees actually, meditation is a multidimensional stuff. We often confuse that with Java. But meditation is not mindfulness. Meditation is taking some key ideas and meditating on it. Am I correct?
Yeah, that is, it is a multidimensional thing. Even see, this is the hello, those who are web listeners. Deepak Ghosh asked this question about that these nuggets about holy company, which are told they need to be taken in and internalized through the process of meditation. It gets enriched. Meditation, there are hundreds of ways of describing meditation. There is the mindfulness is one aspect of it. Uh, like when you are doing something, be meditative about it, and don't think of unnecessary other things. Be attentive about it, be mindful of it. That is one way of putting it in the active life. It is also the mindfulness is at different levels it works. It is a constant 24/7 meditation, mindfulness. Then, as you said, internalizing, like we ate the food, and now that needs to be processed inside, and that is a digestion of the thoughts. Mm. Now, this digestion of the food, external food, it requires a few hours, maybe, or a few days, maximum 1 or 2 days. But the digestion of these very rich thoughts takes mm, long time, years. So that is also can be called meditation. That internalizing, assimilating, converting into your nerves energy. I means it must become now automatic. It must be like you say that the example that I like, the animal crackers. The baby would think of it as that animal, but a grown-up person will see the shape of that particular animal, but will think that it is after all a cookie to be eaten. It is, yeah. You don't say, isn't it, Teresa, that there is suppose a picture of a lion. You will eat it. You won't think that, oh no, I am vegetarian. I should not be eating a lion. It is, you are not eating a lion at all. So, because you become conscious automatically that, so similarly, uh, through meditation, this tremendous transformation would come that I will, suppose I look at Sandhya, and I will see that it is what? God in the form of Sandhya. It is everything is God in that form. We are just think that we are like these animal crackers. Mm. So the shapes, that's it. What is that? The shape, just remove the shape from your awareness. With meditation, we become gradually capable of seeing this inner reality in everything and thus become uh, conscious of it, and thus our behavior changes. Like, even though it is a lion, I will have no qualms about eating it. It is like that. I will be cautious because I should not have too much sugar, that's all. But that's about it, you say. Mm. So, it is the internalizing and digesting that is a process of meditation. Yeah, so it is a long haul, uh, as the great Patanjali describes in Yoga aphorisms. That's to dirgha kala nairantarya satkara sevito dridabhumi. It is going on, it has to go on for a long time. These are not just quick fixes. It is for a long time, steadfastly without break, no meditation, no, I was too busy. I did 2 days ago, then for last 5 days I forgot about it. And then not like that. Nairantarya, there should be continuity. And there should be the feeling of reverence about it. Uh, then there would be gradually the assimilation of ideas, and thus that will remove the negative thoughts as well. Correct. So these examples are there. Yes, Juhi. Uh, if it is not exactly related, I'll take it at the end. Huh? Yeah, tell me though. Huh? Yes, I will take some of the questions at the end. Huh? So it is, he says so many types of these beings here, but all uh, that because of satsang, uh, their nature also changes. The holy company makes things go different. It is, and you can actually see that how their behavior gets altered. I have seen infinitely many, means infinite, not really in that sense, but a countless number of people that have been transformed just because of this holy association. It is, I tell sometimes one prominent story that the fellow was, uh, it is just understatement to say that he had lot of negative thoughts. He was negativity incarnate. Yeah, it is, his face was so, it is downcast, all cynic, these thoughts were just writ large on his face. The eyes were, as it were, having no sensitivity. It is, and distraught, uh, very, very apparently. The confusion also was he didn't have to tell that I am confused. Uh, Looking at him, you don't need a psychologist to tell that he is confused. You see, just looking at him, everybody would say, "See, and such a fellow." And naturally, can you imagine such a person will get lot of friends? Ah, no. It is. Hmm. So, full of that. And somehow, because probably he had no place to go, he came to that ashrama in Nagpur. And then, with that kind of appearance, who would go deliberately to become friends with him? So it is. Uh, so he came sad. It is, and then one Swami just inquired, and then I said, okay, oh, that will be okay, fine, yeah, it is. It will be wonderful. You come here, we welcome you. And it is gradually that person changed, completely. It is again 180-degree change. He became a very unselfish person, a great devotee, a person instead of negativity incarnate, he was positivity incarnate. And that kind of change happened. And there are so many like that. It is that person who is not able to see path ahead immediately sees the light at the end of tunnel, as it were, half filled with enthusiasm and so forth. So the life does change. It is, and then he says here that Binu Satsang, we saw that Rama Kripa Binu Sulabhana Sovi. That satsanga, it is to get a holy company, is also an expression of the grace of Lord. Because of the grace of God, you got this satsanga. It is, and it is the root of all auspiciousness in life. If it is there, your life will become auspicious. So, and they do not look at your demerits. Mm. Howsoever you are, however bad you are, Tulsidas lists himself, here that he narrates all the terrible, um, bad things that a person can have, and then said, amongst such people, uh, I will be the topmost to be counted. It is, and that is humility, one thing, but what he points out is that even we may be mostly good persons, uh, isn't it? What? Uh, Mostly a good person. But then sometimes I become what? A bad person. Everybody has that some moments when what happens if we compare, nobody is then as bad as I am. It is very difficult. Okay. In our mutt, one gentleman was telling me that, oh, actually, he was another Swami. oh, you are doing all these things for him, but he was telling all these bad things about you. So I said, let him tell. I am much worse than what he is telling actually. So you don't have to worry about it. It is not a joke because we have our moments when we are not, even by our moderate standards, we were not really good enough. Uh, it is so, this is uh, the uh, so, but with satsang, those things come in us. Gradually, it is. And so, who am I now to? He says, the glory of the Holy Company. How am I to describe it? Even the great poets, saints, they could not really describe it well. And who am I then to describe it? It is, he gives the analogy that Sri Ramakrishna also gave, very similar analogy, that the one who is only trader in these vegetables, uh, how can he know the value of a gem, a diamond? Nobody, he will not be able to judge that. It is Sri Ramakrishna used to tell in a funny way, one man had a very rare and very valuable gem. So he took that gem to a vegetable vendor, and then the vendor said, "Oh, looks nice. What will you give for it?" I will give you 5 pounds of eggplants. Uh, 5 pounds of eggplants, only that much, and not even 6 pounds. No, no, already I said five, that is too much. It is. So he went for to the cloth merchant. He said that I can give you 5 yards of cloth. Looks nice. Anything more? No, no, no. Already I spoke too much. No, it is no more. So what do they know about it? He went to a jeweler, and the jeweler, his the eyes immediately became big. Ah! And immediately he wrote a check for $100,000. So it is those who understand, they can have the valuation of it. So satsang, how valuable it is. It is so valuable that your whole life can become completely transformed. So it is, and he gives that even these how to know a saintly person has no axe to grind. One special quality is there is has no axe to grind. Whether you are good to the saint or if you are inimical to the saint doesn't matter. The saint will always try to do good to you and gives the example that suppose somebody holds the rose in the hand as fragrant flower. Now, whether somebody is holding that flower as well as somebody who has plucked it, uh, in both cases, the flower will impart the fragrance to those hands. Doesn't matter whether that person has pluck the flower or is holding the flower. It is the job of the flower is to impart the fragrance without any discrimination. So that is the life of saint. They don't worry whether this fellow has been bad to me or good to me. They shower uh, their holy company and associated blessings to everyone. So it is uh, So this is how that samanachita, that sameness is there. Hita anahita ko. There is nobody that it is they think of and doing bad to anybody. Not possible. And that is their very one of the most characteristic quality, that they will, whatever the others may do to that person, they will always do good to. So it is then he comes now to the describing asanta charachara varana, asajjana, bandhav santa asajjana charana. That it is uh, both are there in the world. That is what I was hinting earlier. Just as both are in us, we are a world in ourselves. It's a world. And we are sometimes very saintly, sometimes not saintly. It's exactly opposite of saintly. So both of these things are mixed in us. And uh, it is therefore sometimes, because of not knowing this, we get the idea that let all these evil people be eliminated from the world. Hmm. They are all bad people. Let this world be filled with only good people. Yeah. So come on, let all the bad people get out. Yes. Even suppose had it been possible, ah, suppose had it been possible that, yeah, all these uh, liars and cheats and cruel people, and also I will eliminate all of them. Let this world be only for those who are very honest and never tell a lie, never cheat anybody, never hurt anybody. All such people be there. Then Swami Vivekananda says, suppose you make such a world, ask the question to yourself, will you get a place in that world? Will you get a place in that world? That is the key, you know. What Aishani, will you get a place in that world? Yes. Oh, wow, good. She is quite hopeful. So very good. Huh? Because each of us is a mixture. Uh, a- in fact, it is impossible to say that what is good and what is really bad. They are in this world like the example given is like Brahman and Maya. They are so intermixed with each other, where one ends and where other begins, you can never tell. So the good, you think it is good, but it is contextual. In other contexts, it could be very bad. It is you are doing good work, you think, but then for somebody it will be a bad work, and that in our mobile dispensary, this charitable mobile dispensary, I had this rude but very true experience, that we used to pat ourselves, and other people also would say you are doing such good work. Before your this mobile dispensary came to our villages, it was such a big issue that patients wouldn't get treated. You are coming, it is such a good thing. But one old man brought us down to the ground, and we were getting very puffed up. What a great work we are doing. and then brought us down in one stroke, saying that all that you are doing good work. But to tell you, before your medical van started coming to our village, there were not so many diseases. And it is correct actually, if you see. It is when you get the doctor and medicines and all that, it is the problems also come along with that. It is something that you do is good for somebody, not good for somebody else. So it is uh, the world is full of the both these. That is what Tulsidas now points at. So therefore, do not condemn anybody. It is the yes, because everything he says, therefore my salutes to all these evil people. He describes the evil people, that what they are. And look at yourself, we should look at ourselves while looking at this description, and we will recognize that to some extent it is my description. It is. He says that there is the they will look at the faults of others. They, as it were, grow 1,000 eyes when they are looking at faults of others. Their eyes become 1,000. Uh, Listening about the slanders about others, their ears become thousands. You see. That is how the evil, and without any, even if they are hurting themselves, they want to hurt others. It is, I want to wreak revenge, but look at that will hurt you. I don't care. Even if I die, I want to teach that fellow a lesson. That is that uh, there is that the evil. How the evil person is, that there were two big demons, and both were staunch enemies of each other, and both started praying to God, and did lot of austerities, and so at the end of say many years practice, they that God emerged before them and said, well, I am very pleased with your devotion and your these austerities performing. What do you want? Ask whatever you want, but put a caveat that whatever one gets, other will get twice as much. Oh, now they were avowed enemies. Now what to ask? Ah, both were quiet for some time. Then one of them said, "Oh, God, make me blind by one eye." So that is the evil, you see. The evil people are like that. Even if I am hurt, it doesn't matter. Hey, but let that fellow, yeah. And it is, they don't have anything to gain. The thought is not gaining anything, and they really destructive thought. It is, yeah, and we can find the manifestation of that in our life also. Sometimes we get such thoughts. I don't mean to say anything about you, but in me such things do happen. That they that inimical mentality suddenly makes a rise. Mm. But this is because it is like this, that they are all in this world of Maya, world of ignorance. All the relative good is coupled with relative bad. Mm. Till we reach the highest, where we go beyond good and evil. And this is how the relative progress happens in life. That it is everything is relative, and doesn't mean that so we can do whatever. No, in this relative field, we have to abide by relative good and relative bad. Both these things are, they have their value. So we have to see that at our level, whatever is uh, according to my conscience, which is again subject to uh, evolution, it grows. But at my level of awareness, what is right and what is not right, I can see, and then I do what is right. Hmm. It is, oh, anything, that attitude of supporting what wrong we did by citing some similar examples, that tendency should be avoided. That it is once one man that's coming at Sri Ramakrishna. So uh, Sri Ramakrishna is that one, another devotee. He said, "Oh, this man, you tell lies." And so, uh, but that man supported his, what, lie. Even Yudhishthira had to tell lies. Only once he told half lie in whole life, imagine. Uh, so Sri Ramakrishna said, look at this tendency. He never took the thought of any these millions of virtues of Yudhishthira in the whole lifetime. He told half lie, and this fellow is hanging on that as a support. So if I tell lie, what is wrong about it? uh, oh, these days, without lying, nobody, it is, you cannot survive. Is it true? And if you keep on telling lies, are you going to survive, as it were? How long? It is, what do you feel if somebody tells you a lie? Don't you feel sad about it? It is, that tendency to support our own wrongdoings by citing some similar examples, and that should be avoided. This is what Tulsidas here wants to point out, that these are all things which come mixed, that one is accompanied always with another. It is. So he says that I am describing these so that uh, you can be wary of them, that these things are in us. It is not to think that, okay, let me kick out all those evil people. Here is the evil person. So that evil in uh, me has to be kicked out. That is what is to be done. It is, and he says, salute both. This is a very famous this topai that he says, Bandau Sant Asajjana Charana दुखप्रद उभय बीच कछु वरना बिछुरत एक प्राण हर लेहि मिलत एक दुख दारुण देहि. That in all these good people and evil people, I salute both of them, and they have this common thing in them, that they both give me pain. Good people also give you pain, and evil people also give you pain. Yes, both give me pain. When the good people go away from me, they give me pain. And this, when the evil people come to me, they give me pain. You see, so both give me pain. And remember, Everything that comes goes. So good people they come and then they have to go to. So it is relative. So it is, and that evil person came to you, you feel pain, but it is going to go away. It is not going to be permanent there. So salute both of them because both of them are manifestations of God. It is the goodness is because of God, and what you see evil he is also a manifestation of God. Both are manifestations of God, but he says that if you want to progress in the right direction, he says that it is the good and wicked resemble nectar and wine respectively. Actually, it is that the word it is yes that they when in the churning of the ocean from the ocean the nectar came many things came out there is a list of some 16 things that came up while the demons and the angels uh, deva and asura they were churning the ocean. It is actually churning the motion of the mind. It's a very beautiful analogy. And the demons and the angels both are in us. The churning of the ocean of mind is going on. And then it brought out some very nice things. At the same time, it brought out some very destructive things also because they are together. Where there is an up, then there has to be a down too. It is both have to be there. If there is one, there has to be the other. They are counterparts. One is always accompanied by another. It is, yeah, if there is a positive charge, there has to be a corresponding negative charge somewhere. Otherwise, where did the positive charge come from? So it is, thus, it is always relative there. So, through that same churning of the ocean came the nectar. That Lakshmi, Kaustuva, Parijataka Sura, Dhanvantarish Chandrama, Gavak Kamadudha, all these positive things are told. Then there are some Sura, the wine also came out from that, and halahal, that big poison also came from that. The nectar also came out of it. All those things uh, came out of the churning of the same ocean. So our mind has all these things. So the idea there was that those devas and the angels they did not go for taking anything except the nectar. Other things if you want you take it. But then certain things those demons also didn't find of much value. So, like the big elephant came, what are we going to do with it? So they gave it to Indra. Okay, you want to take it. It is like that. So, uh, but when the nectar was coming out, then because everybody wants to be immortal. Yeah. So that is even that idea of evolution, evol Darwin's idea of evolution has this very important primary principle, struggle for existence. We don't want to die. So when that nectar, that potion drinking which one becomes immortal, made its presence, then both started fighting for it. So anyway, that is that story how we have that Kumbh Mela, it is, I don't want to get into it, but that is how, this is how the uh, story that he tells about Satsang. And even when, she was very nicely singing that Navavidha Bhakti, the first thing was that Satsang. They, uh, the the very important form of bhakti or devotion is the desire for satsang, that it is the which is not very common, that for example we have satsanga today. How many people have shown up? Comparatively very few, I mean. Suppose we have something like, say, gambling or some such thing, they all wouldn't be holding this, it is so. uh, these things are always going to be a very few and not a fault of the modern times. Even at the time of Lord Krishna, it was same. He also said, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. It is a wrong and habit, You can know that that person has become old now, when he starts talking about, how good were those earlier times, people were devotees, oh nonsense. It is not at all so. It is now these modern people, they have no this religious feelings. I get to hear it all, that especially people come and ask, how to, instill religious feelings in my grandchild. Well, do you have some? Do you have some? It is what. See, I suggest, them first, why are you worried about your grandchildren? Uh, you are, now getting old. Think about how you can get salvation, mukti. You won't talk about that. My grandchild. Oh, let the grandchild think about himself or herself. It is because, yeah, it is not thought to be that satsang is, therefore, we should go for it and not blame others that these times are such, no satsang available anywhere. If you seek, it will be available, Those who seek, it is available. In Nagpur and right in front of our ashrama there, that family is still, that lady is living there. So when that family was there, one day I asked that gentleman, very nice friend and devotee, so no, I just went to buy fish. It is not very easy to get fish in Nagpur, no, that it is not near any. So, and those days that importing from other places was not easy. That pre-cold storage era, so it is. So, where did you see? He said that, we are Bengalis. Uh, we want fish. When we want, we find out where and how to get, and we get it. It is. And he said, remember, a fish can live without water, but Bengali cannot live without fish, you see. So, when it is the question of that importance, naturally you will somehow find it, you see. So, it is. So, when the satsanga is necessary, if it is important, I have to find it. Then even fish can be found out in places where it is not so easily available. Satsanga can we not find. Just it is all available if we open our eyes, if we open our sensitivity. Otherwise, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye, amongst thousands of people, maybe perchance one of them tries to, know at least something. It is. So it is, don't let us not blame these times and this Kali Yuga and whatever, It is they not the fault of time. In Bhagavatam, therefore, it is said Kali Yuga means this all these four yugas in us. It is not that they are just some outer time calculations. There is outer time calculation, but Bhagavatam says that it is in us. It is when our attraction is to the outside objects, especially those which are intoxicating things, then that is Kali Yuga. It is when our attention is to the holy things, the permanent things, then gradually we move from that Dwapar Yuga to Treta Yuga to Satya Yuga and so forth. I say it is not that it says where there is, the wine and gambling and all those things, then that is Kali Yuga. If it is not time that 1,000 years ago or all that. It is then that is when you have so many such addictions, then that is Kali Yuga. On the bumper of a truck in India, it was written, they write some nice things. So it was written in Hindi that सतयुग में तो दूध था, द्वापर में था घी, कलयुग में तो शराब है, संभल संभल कर पी. So so you know what is Kali Yuga? It is, huh? Huh? Translation. Ah, okay, yeah, you can translate Harsh. You can translate it in English. Huh? Ah,
In Kali Yuga, there is beer or alcohol, so be careful and drink. Or drink wisely.
means about other things, you don't have to have that much, that carefulness. You can have that without much addictive effects. uh, what happens with such things like gambling, they have such a stranglehold on you that to get free becomes very difficult. You become slaves to them. That is Kali Yuga. So it is not a particular time, but it is this. So, and now let us take up some questions. We have just a little time left, not much. So, uh, what is this? My mind is, what is it says? Decently uh, resolute and can mostly control any wrong. Huh? Okay, or she can read it. Yeah, that will be better because it is true. Yeah. नहीं नहीं वो उतनी जरूरत नहीं है. Already just by saying you got addicted to it, huh? Come on, come on. Don't memorize that. There are better things to memorize. Okay. Yeah, that is what we have been discussing, friends. He has put it in the form of a nice question. That it is, yes, sometimes our we call it decent, but not decent enough. It is decent that, yeah, most of us Here, we do not go to steal, and we do not go to murder. Huh? Hopefully, of course, let us, we do not go to murder or to such heinous crimes, normally speaking. It is. So that call ourselves, we have some decent control. What does it mean? It is control. Uh, See, Sahababu, that it is control means there it is, but you are keeping it in check. Hmm. It is there. Now, what happens is, how long can you keep it in check? Your that keeping in check, that capability also needs some rest. So your checking becomes a little slack. And while you were checking, that tendency was not getting the expression, but internally, therefore, it was gaining strength. So when it is waiting, when it opens, I will attack. That is how uh, it happens. That, and then also this thought becomes very detrimental. That, well, I have a decent control, and nothing will happen to me. I am very controlled person. It is, yeah, uh, like some people uh, go to that Las Vegas and think that, oh, I don't have such tendency to play, or no, I'm not going to get affected by such things. I have decent control. So let me just try, the idea that I don't want to make a big win, only lose small. That is my idea of playing. Let me lose small. And you never know, before you know, you have made a big loss. It is. And then you go again to make up for that loss, because it takes hold of you. And it is, I know one devoted couple, uh, they not too long ago had to divorce because that wife said, I don't want to lose all my money. For I have tried to tell him. He says that, well, now he will not, but sometimes that tendency comes up, and then he again goes and plays, and thus that man confessed, yes, that this has happened. It is, I tried, but my controls are not always that good. So it is, so somebody else has to control you. It is nothing to condemn anybody, but this is, we should not think that we are beyond temptation. The temptation waits for such moments when we think ourselves to be quite safe. Mm. Yeah, yeah, such things cannot tempt me anymore. Means those temptations are ready to just overpower you. That is the when you get such thoughts that, no, no, I have conquered all these temptations. I have been a spiritual aspirant for many years. I am a sadhaka. I am a sannyasi. Remember, there is this uh, moment that you can sleep anytime. It is, Shankaracharya tells in Vivek Sudamani, and that it is like letting the tennis ball. Uh, there was no tennis at Shankaracharya's time. He doesn't mention a ball, he mentions a ball. Just to give a modern analysis, thing, a ball and dropped at the top of the staircase. Now it is difficult to retrieve it. Once it starts going down, it gains more and more momentum. Before you know, you find it at the bottom of the staircase. You see. So that is what, therefore, he says that no, don't loosen up that control till it is completely eliminated, and that gets completely eliminated by God realization alone. Till then, whether you are an advanced spiritual aspirant, even if you are a sannyasi, whatever, you have to maintain that control in your life and keep on having that discipline practice. How to do that? That is a very nice example. And in spite of this fault of repeating, I will do that. Today I have not told that, but in this such gatherings I have told it many times that when you have to push a truck, say, on the upward slope. Now, these days I don't see much of that happening, but in olden days when the car or the truck engine doesn't work, then we use the reverse technique of starting the truck. And normally the engine would start the movement of the wheels. But then when the engine is not functioning, you do the reverse. Give push to the wheel and that will make the engine start. So it is you push the truck. 5, 6 people that it is on the slope. But that force doesn't last too long. So you want to take a breath. You, but the fellow comes back. Now you start from again, square one. So what they do is they push, and when they know that their energy is not now going to last anymore, they put a big stone under the wheel. Now that stone is not going to push it up further, but it will prevent it from sliding down. Huh? That is called Shama. Huh? Your name is Shama, isn't it? So I'm telling you. Shama means that you have that uh, discipline in life. That stone represents the discipline. That will prevent you from sliding down. So have that regularity and discipline in life. It is don't give it up, so that it remains in check. So these are the ways by through which we can keep these uh, evil thoughts and or such things overpowering our good tendencies. It is very important. Yeah. Any other question? Yes, Charlie.
Well, I find it overwhelming. I mean, I keep going back to the same thing over and over again. Today, I feel I've absorbed sometimes, but I'll probably go back again and do the same thing over and over again. Like you mentioned, what do I do about that?
Well, when you want to go back, just take a deep breath and see that did I not hear it already? I know it already. It is I know it already. Just kick that thought out. One of my mentors told it is very simple when I hear it. And if we practice also, you can see it is not that difficult, but we have to be attentive about it. I had asked some question like that, those evil thoughts and all they come. He said, well, why you are paying attention to it? What happens when some insect sits on your body? You just tick it off, isn't it? So when such thing comes, just tick it off. Don't hold on to it. Don't keep on meditating on it. Where did it come from? And why did it come? And then, yes, what are all the biological features of that? And do not keep attention on it. Just tick it off. Why you get, because that is the way that gradually it will find a nice home in you. Hmm. It is one Swami he gave. I like that analogy he gave, that you get so many spam emails. Everybody, those who have email, use email, they get lot of spam emails. You will never get a spam free thing. It is because that is how the nature of that medium is. There would be lot of spam emails. Now, uh, they have two categories. One are just unwanted emails that you don't worry about. There are some which are very tempting emails. And then they just ask some, they give you a big promise that I am looking for somebody to transfer $7 million. It is now you don't get anybody to give even $7 for nothing, what to speak of 7 million. So yeah, so and they say that just yes, there is give us this information, your account number, and so we will transfer that money. So obviously, if you get hung on it and then start sending, oh wow, nice, let me send him that information, go on. If they tell you open this attachment, please, and then well, click on that attachment, and then your bank account is cleaned in no time. You see. So therefore, as long as you don't click on it, you are safe. Hmm. What Aishani, isn't it? As long as you don't click on it, you are safe. So similarly, all those not such so good thoughts, if you don't bother about them, you are safe. Hmm. Don't worry about them. Tick them off as if they are non-existent. Hmm. Ignore them, and thus they will not harm you. It is so. This is the way. This is the technique that is used for this purpose. That do not get hung on those things. It is to be. Hmm, you see it. You see those emails. You just smile and ignore those emails and delete them. There is that, therefore, that delete button. Why is it provided? It is for the use of such things. So when such thoughts come, what do you do? Delete them. Yeah, exactly. Ah, delete them. That is what is to be done. So, okay, then any other question? Oh, Shama, you have a question. Okay, then later on, Deepak will ask. Huh? Oh, wait for 5-10 minutes. Okay, 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 okay. Huh? See. Yes, okay. Yes, please. Huh? Huh? This question is very common, because we make confusion between our duties and our attachments, and feel that without attachment, how can I perform my duties? They are completely different things. You can perform your that all the duties that you need to do in life better by being not attached. Uh, Sri Ramakrishna used to give this beautiful analogy that just as a nanny performs the works with the little kids, uh, that the nanny has no attachment as far as those kids are concerned, never thinks that they are her kids, but does the work and may be doing it better than the mother does because the parents have the idea of imposing their ideas and thoughts on the children. Mm. The nanny doesn't have that. So nanny takes care of the children without being attached. That is the example, that yes, I do my duty. Do your duties. Don't get caught in. Once you are caught in it, then even your duties are not done well. It is because that you keep on, impeding the what you need to do. It is only the non-attached person can do the work much, much better. Hmm? Yes, Deepak, you have anything?
Yes, Maharaj, you use the word discrimination in the beginning of the lecture. Obviously, Holy Ghost talks about discriminating between good and the right and wrong,
Yeah,
discrimination between impermanent, permanent, so
yeah,
on.
yeah,
In our day-to-day life as human beings, we have not a lot of natural tendencies we call sanskar.
yeah.
And that gives us sort of the law of inertia kicks in, right? So at that moment when you're about to act, the fact is on the spur of the moment, your inertia kicks in and doesn't give you any time to bring the logic, the rationalization between right and wrong and all those things on the spur of the moment. How to get that nanosecond so that you can basically do the right thing?
It's a very practical and correct question, nice question. But the answer to that is practice. It is when you have the practice. I'll give you the example of learning driving. That when you are not, when one is not well used to driving, then every decision has to be made consciously. And so one makes many mistakes because there is not much time. As you use the word nanosecond, you have to take the decision. But when it becomes ingrained in your personality, because you have been driving for a lot of time. One devotee told me, "Don't tell me, Swami, I have been driving for 30 years." So it is, yeah. So it is. Uh, so when it becomes, part of your personality, then that will happen in nanosecond automatically. Look at the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Mm. That it was so ingrained in him that there is no possibility of an error there. It automatically would just get separated for him. This is permanent.
But
This
Maharaj, we
is
are human beings, we have to get sanskara.
yeah, but that is why we have to progress in that direction. So, by practice, gradually we progress in that direction. See, you are a follower of sages, you are follower of incarnation of God, you are follower of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji. What does it mean? Understand the meaning of this word. That means where they reach, you are sure to reach. May not be today, but tomorrow. Hmm? Yes. So let us conclude this today's wonderful retreat. Thank you, everybody. It is there is some we can before we leave we can have some tea and then while taking tea we can have some more discussion. It is what is time now? 3:42. So let us chant the name of Rama and then that will be done, you know. जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम ही आधार जाने सारा संसार सिया राम ही आधार जाने सारा संसार देखो दिल में विचार जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम काने कुंडल विशाल तिलक सोहे जाके भाल काने कुंडल विशाल तिलक सोहे जाके भाल लगभग 11 साल जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जिन्हें दशरथ के लाल कौशल बालक कृपाल जिन्हें दशरथ के लाल कौशल बालक कृपाल गुण गावे हजार जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम सिया राम सिया राम. So in September, and we shall try to meet. This is the uh, somewhat in advance, I'm telling, but the date would be most probably 19th of September. If you find the hall available, yeah, yeah, it is. So Deepak, in advance you got the notice, huh? Okay, yeah, but it is subject to availability, huh? Yeah. Yeah. So thank you everybody.